Good morning, Southwest. It is April 21st, and today we are going to talk about 8th grade math for AMI Day 22. So in this problem, we are comparing two different people that are savings. One is represented by a graph, and the other is represented by an equation or a function. And so as we look through the problem, number one says, who started out with more money in their account? Explain how you know. And so really what we're talking about is initial amount. What did we start with? Number two says, who is saving money at a faster rate? You know, we've talked about rate of change in all our classes, rate of change or slope. And so we'll visit that in here in just a minute. And then 3 and 4, how much will Noah save over the course of a year? 52 weeks. And number 4, how long will it take Elena to save that much? So I'm going to work through a practice problem with you, and hopefully this will help you answer this question. Okay, so in my example, Bob's savings is represented by a function of 3x plus 4, and Joe's savings is represented by this graph. And so let's start with initial amount. How do you find initial amount when you're talking about a function or an equation? And so that is typically, if we look at this function, it's written in the form of y equals mx plus b. So the number that's all by itself is the b, which is the y-intercept, which is the initial amount. So Bob started with $4. And then if we compare that to Joe, where's the initial amount on the graph? Well, that is where the y-intercept is. So for us, for Joe, the y-intercept is 4 as well. So Bob and Joe both started with $4 in their savings account. And so then we move on to, well, what's the rate of their savings? How much are they saving per week? And so when we look at Bob, again, it's written in that slope-intercept form. And so for us, for Bob, that slope is 3, meaning that every week he's putting in $3 additional dollars. His rate is $3. As we look at the graph, it's a little bit more complex. And there's a number of ways you can do it. You can do rise over run. You can do, you can find slope, or you could put it into a table yourself. Probably for us, the easiest thing might be to put it into a table. And so if I put it into a table, and I can pick any 2 points I want because it's linear. So let's pick 4, 12, and let's pick 2, 8. And so how do I get from 12 to 8? I'm going down 4. And how do I get from 4 to 2? I'm going down 2. And so remember that slope or rate of change is equal to the change in y over the change in x. And so we've already done that with our table. The change in y is minus 4. The change in x is minus 2. So the rate of change for Joe is 2. In other words, Joe is saving $2 a week. So then we come back to, well, how do we compare these, or let's apply this. So let's say that we were going to save for 8 weeks. Well, how much would Bob have after 8 weeks? All we're going to do is plug 8 in for x, for the number of weeks. So E is equal to 24 plus 4. E is equal to 28. And then the last question would be, well, how long will it take Joe to save that $28? So instead of putting in something for weeks, we're going to replace the 28 with the E with 28 and then solve for W. But before we do that, we really need an equation for Joe's savings. So let's fix that. Remember, Joe's rate was $2 per week, and he started with $4. So we're trying to figure out, well, how long would it take to save $28, which is what Bob has after 8 weeks. So then we're going to solve this simple equation. We're going to subtract both sides by 4. Oops. 24. And then we're going to divide by 2. And so W equals 12. So it would take Joe 12 weeks to save the same amount of money as it would for Bob in 8 weeks. Hope this helps, Cougs. Have a great day.